And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network. As we are in the early part of April and just a few shows left in the 2023-2024 school year. Ooh, senior year, Aiden, it's almost over. It's getting down there. But we're going to talk speech tonight. And of course, the state speech is coming up actually next week because we won't have a show next Wednesday night. So we're having a couple of the Highlanders that qualify for state speech on tonight's program. And joining us is Aiden McPartland along with Abby Wilness. Ladies, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Excited? Ready to get things going?
Yes.
Yeah, very
Always.
excited.
Very excited. Now, I'll start with you, Abby. You just qualified this past weekend at the EDC.
Yes.
At the EDC tournament, and I have you down for Persuade and Impromptu.
Correct.
Which one of those two do you like the best?
It kind of depends on the day, to be honest. I really like impromptu because I've been doing that event since 7th grade, and that was my first event I really found like success in, and my first event I qualified in ever. So that one's always been kind of my favorite.
What did you do for Persuade? Can you remember what you did?
My topic is about the McDonaldization of society and how it impacts our lives. So
Okay.
yeah.
And now Impromptu, obviously that's self-explanatory. That's like an improvisation.
Yeah, you get at least 3 minutes, I believe, to prep your like an inspirational quote, and then after that, you basically have to get up and speak it. So
So not a lot of prep time.
no, I usually use like 30 seconds to 45 seconds.
Okay. And you don't know ahead of time
No.
what it's going to be. They give
Yeah.
it to you, and you got your 3 minutes and go.
Yeah, you have no clue.
He scares us sometimes. Just don't disregard the man behind the curtain. And Aiden, again, pros and serious duo are the two that you're going to be
Yes.
doing. What did you do for pros?
So prose is basically like a monologue that's taken from a book, and you perform it in 8 minutes.
What book do you have? A particular?
I'm doing a selection from In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado.
Okay, all right. And I'm assuming you've read the book.
I have read the book. It's a great book. I recommend.
And now with Serious Duo, it's you and Leah Hochhalter.
Yes.
That is your partner with that. What do you guys do for that?
We're doing Letters Home by Sylvia and Ariella Plath.
Okay. What do you guys do with Serious Duo?
It's a lot like a single interp event, except there's two people, so it gives you a lot more opportunity to like move around in cool ways, and like it's one of my favorite events. It's really fun.
Well, these are just two of the Highlanders that have qualified for state. If you look at the list, it's rather long, and for both of you, I'll start with you, Abby. 6 state championships in a row for a Highlander speech. So do you guys even think about that, or not?
I guess maybe a little bit, but this year we have really focused on, number one, like we lost a lot of seniors last year, so it's just making sure that younger kids have fun, and we mostly grow as a team and have that enjoy and have fun at every meet and grow. That's been our main focus this year.
And you as a senior, Aiden, I mean, do you kind of take a little leadership role?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of the activity is watching all of the 7th graders like grow up and learn everything, because we compete all at the same level. So it's just super cool to watch them have competitive success and like learn.
And I think you kind of helped Maddie coach too a little bit, if she can't, kind of like what she did when she was a senior.
Definitely.
And has that kind of helped you too, kind of see things from the student side of it, where now you're kind of a little bit of like a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, what am I trying to say here? It helps a lot with like putting yourself in like younger kids' shoes, making sure you're not being too harsh with like critiques and stuff.
Right.
So
remember what you were like when you were that
Exactly.
age. And so it's like, I got to think about that when I do this. Now, we were talking about nationals because you've qualified before, but that tournament's coming up.
Yes.
In a week after next, I believe.
This week actually.
this week.
Sunday this week.
Okay,
we
so
start.
Sunday this week, and are both of you going to be? Is that a group thing? Are you both going to be in it?
Yeah.
It's a smaller team than we'd usually bring to a tournament, but
Okay.
yes.
What are you going to be doing this weekend?
I will be performing my prose in dramatic interpretation, and then also serious duo with Leah.
Okay, how about you?
I'll be doing Persuade and US Extemp, and then I also am hoping to get into world schools,
Okay.
which is what I did last year. It's kind of like a debate kind of thing.
Right. Well, one thing I was going to ask, I'll ask both of you too, is when you got into speech, as seventh graders, and did you see yourself staying with it for 6 years and doing what you've done?
No, to be completely honest, I thought speech was a junior high thing. I was just gonna try because I like to try things. I like to try stuff new, and really, I didn't think until like my 9th grade year that I was gonna stick with it. And then when I nationally qualified last year, I made decisions to leave sports and stuff. But no, I did not project my life to go in the way it did, and for me to do the stuff I do. But I really don't regret making the decision to join speech.
Been a good decision so far.
Yes, it has been.
And how about you, Aiden?
Yeah, I was actually a lot of the same way. I joined because my sister joined when she was younger, but when she quit, I thought I was also going to quit, but just the team atmosphere and everyone on the team definitely helped me make the decision to stay on it for 6 years now. So,
did it bring you guys out of your comfort zone doing something like this?
Oh yeah, very much. I like politics and I like that kind of stuff, but I never liked speaking in front of people or speaking my opinions about anything or any of it.
Because I know, some people, they get up there and they're so nervous. Now, do you have anything in your hand? Because a lot of it's from memorization, isn't it?
Yeah, especially for the kind of events that Abby does. Like, she doesn't have a script in front of you, but memorization does really help. But I understand why it would be nerve-wracking for people, but really joining it has helped me gain so much confidence and, like, stuff like that. So, yeah.
How big would it be for you, Aiden, to wrap up your senior year with another state championship?
I would really love that. I think more, though, I really would love to see the competitive success of like the individual team members. I think that's super important, and I know that we're going to have a lot of success with the team that we're bringing this year.
What do you think is the key? Why are we so successful in speech? What is it about this school and their speech program?
I gotta ask myself that, but I think it's just like, I think it's kind of like we all just don't really feel that pressure. Like there's never been that pressure, at least for me, to like go out and succeed. It's kind of been like an accident. I like to say that the success finds, but I think it's also we have amazing coaches that know a ton about speech and support us through it all. So I think it's just a support system and that team atmosphere, and just once when you get introduced to it, you can find a lot of success.
Yeah, and then you enjoy it, you have fun. And that just makes it, that's just kind of icing on the cake, if you will, for that. Well, now, it's in Bismarck?
Yes, it is. State is going to be in Jamestown this year. National qualifiers is going to be in Bismarck.
Okay, so national qualifier, which is this Sunday.
Sunday through, I believe, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Starting on the 14th, going to the 16th, and that'll be in Bismarck and then in Jamestown. So only a half hour away, so we can zip. Is that going to be at the high school or where?
Yes, I believe Jamestown High School.
At the high school. So there you go. You got a destination here in 2 weeks. Well, the 20th, I think, April 20th. You can head to Jamestown and watch a very successful speech team and perform again and try for that 7th straight state championship. Anything else for you ladies that you think about as far as speech and what this year has meant to you? I mean, first for you.
I guess I think this year has meant a lot. Like, I have had a lot more leadership since we only really have her as a senior. But I think I've meant a lot because I've been in this program for 4 years now. And so the leadership that I've gained and been able to be a captain this year has really taught me a lot and taught me to be able to be a leader and be that person where people can look up to. And I think that's been a key important factor for this season for me.
How about you, Lee?
Yeah, being one of the only 2 seniors on the team has been such an experience, like watching everyone grow and learn. And it means so much to me that I'm going to be leaving this team on a good note with people like Abby taking over next year. And, yeah.
Well, we'll probably have to, well, not probably. We're going to have you on after our state championship here in a couple of weeks. Well, let's hope. I mean, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. No pressure or anything on that. But, almost would have to have you perform what you did. That would be, because it's only like 3 minutes Well, unless it's 8 minutes.
8 minutes
8
for me.
minutes for yours.
Yeah.
And how long
Mine's
for you?
kind of a total of 7 minutes.
7
and
minutes.
8 minutes for my persuade.
Okay, so we'll think about that. We'll do that. Really put you on the spot. But ladies, congratulations on again being part of a large contingent of Highliners that are heading to the state meet here next week. Good luck at the Nationals qualifier in Bismarck this weekend, and we hope to again get you on the show again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aiden McPartland and Abby Wilmus joining us here from the Highlanders speech team. Again, national qualifier coming up this weekend on Sunday in Bismarck, and then the state competition next weekend, and that will be in Jamestown. We'll be back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here in Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network, and we're going to be talking baseball coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We were just done talking a little bit about speech with Abby Wilmus and Aiden McPartland. Well, let's kind of just go over again all of the speech competitors that are on their way to state competition here coming up on the 20th of April. Carter Haas, Caden Spetch, Leah Holkalter, Elijah Drummond, Kylie Van Bruggen, Alyssa Wilmus, Jared Burke, Ada Gilbertson, Quinn Kruger, Addie Lohr, and Rafael Rivera are some of the Highliners. The Highlanders are going to be at the state competition, and that again is coming up the 20th of April in Jamestown. And this weekend is the national qualifier. And Aiden said she did, when she was a sophomore, she qualified for nationals. And so she'll be, she along with Abby and a small group of Highlanders will be competing at the national qualifier this weekend, this Sunday, through Tuesday, and that will be in Bismarck. Well, some other activities that are going on for Valley City. Of course, the softball team, they were supposed to play here on Monday night on the road at West Fargo. That game now will be played on Friday in West Fargo. Just kind of wet grounds and just not playable conditions. And the Highlanders lost their season opener to Hillsborough Central Valley. A tough game that lost 11-10, had a 9-1 lead at one point. but the Burros battled back and won it in walk-off fashion by a final of 11-10. And just taking a look at how the Highlanders did, Kinley Suffolk was 2 for 3 with a double-triple and drove in a couple of runs. Bailey LaRue, Addie Jewett, and Tessa Anderson were each 1 for 2. And Anderson scored a run and also drove in a run. And LaRue scored a couple of runs. Hadley Thorson was 1 for 4 in that game with a run scored and an RBI. And Bethany Schultheis scored a couple of runs. And Camberg and Ashton Hartzell each scored a run. And Sydney Larson had an RBI as the Highlanders dropped that game again by a final of 11-10. And they will be on the road at West Fargo this Friday for the second game of the season. And their home opener will be coming up next week. And they will have their first game at the Highlander Softball Complex. And, of course, other sports that are just getting started. This is the first week that golf has had their practices. That started here. Tennis has been going for a couple of weeks. And we'll, of course, have golf and tennis on this program coming up in the weeks to come. And what is, really, all things considered, a very exciting tennis season is right around the corner for Highlander girls tennis. And we'll be talking with Coach Matt Nielsen coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll step aside. When we come back here on Coach's Corner, we're going to have Coach Seth Soderholm joining us from the Highlander boys baseball team who opened up the season at home last night against the Wahpeton Huskies. We'll talk about that as Coach's Corner continues here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on the Highlander Activity Network on this Wednesday night, the second Wednesday in the month of April. And they're playing baseball outside in April here in North Valley City. Coach Seth Soderholm joining us from Highlanders. How you doing, Coach?
Good. It's coming off a win. It's always good.
It's always good when you're coming off a win. And I'll tell you, you're playing a team that was state runner-up last year, won the EDC conference tournament in the Wahpeton Huskies, very good Legion program. Just overall, your thoughts on last night's 6-2 win over the Huskies?
Yeah, we played pretty well. It took us a little bit to get going, but I mean, that's to be expected. Came out, we swung the bats pretty well. We only had, I think, 7 hits, but that doesn't take into barreled outs and stuff. You know, it doesn't tell the whole story. So I was pretty happy. We played really good defense. Pitchers threw very well. Not a whole lot of complaints.
7 innings with your 2 pitchers. I think 9 strikeouts just off the top of my head between Ethan Miller. I probably don't have to go off the top of my head. I can just look and see. It was a total of 9 between the two, and only 3 walks too for the 7 innings. Is that something too that your staff is going to be very good at throwing strikes?
I mean, we kind of our kind of philosophy is we just try to get the best stuff and throw it over the white part. And usually our pitchers have good enough off speed and breaking stuff that we can rely on that. Obviously, you got to be careful around some hitters, but for the most part, we try to get our stuff numbers up, and then whatever happens. We trust our pitches.
Offensively, you said 7 hits last night. Corbin Powell had a couple of them. But do you see this team, once they get into it, this is going to be a very good offensive team, isn't it?
Yeah, you can tell with how I think last year we started the first year, I think we had 15 strikeouts and got our first hit with 2 outs in the 7th. So it's a little bit different than that. We did a good job as the game progressed of putting more bats on the ball with 2 strikes. That was something we kind of worked on in practice today. But we're going to look to do damage early in the count and then always try to put pressure on defense later in the count.
And you got speed on this team, too.
Yes.
So is this going to be a team that's going to like to move around the bases?
Yeah, that's our plan. I mean, we got 1 through 9. Everyone can steal a base. So, and we got people on the bench that can run, too. That's kind of our thing. That's why we really want to hone in on putting the ball in play, because we can hopefully kind of run wild on the bases and make them make errors like they did yesterday.
I know people that are Major League fans, Mike Scioscia, when he managed the LA Angels, they always were good at going from first to third. When you have speed, is that something too? It's like taking that extra base?
Bases, yep. Taking extra bases. A lot of guys with green lights on the bases that if they get a read on the pitcher, they can go. Corbin did it yesterday when he stole third and they threw it away. That was all him. That wasn't designed. It wasn't a design double steal. He just had the pitcher timed up and got a read.
And I think only 1 error defensively. Yep. So you mentioned good defense.
Yeah, it was 1 error, and it was a throwing error from the catcher on a back pick. So that's always good. You know, we played a pretty clean game. I don't think the outfielders got a fly ball, but the infielders did a good job of getting outs on the bases.
And when you get pitchers that throw strikes, you're going to find that your defense will be a little bit better because they're going to be on the balls of their feet, not their heels.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of, we want to keep them active and trust our defense. We have a good defense, so.
I know it's game 1, but still, it's a positive. You get off to that good start. You always want to do that too, don't you? Just get off to that good start.
It feels so much. Especially with these games, they count right away. You got to get going right away and just put your best foot forward. And you lose the first one, and then you scrap them from behind, playing it like you got to win games that you probably shouldn't, and you're playing from behind the rest of the year. So it feels really good to start 1-0. It's first time we have since I've started.
I was going to say it's been quite a few years to get that W in game number 1 of the season. I think West Fargo is next on the schedule this week. Next week on Tuesday.
At West Fargo on Tuesday.
Always a good ball club when you take on the West Fargo Packers, and having that week after coming off a win. Would you rather maybe play in 2 or 3 days, or early in the season, do you like to have them spread out a little bit?
Either way. Yeah. I mean, if we can replicate in-game stuff as best as we can in practice, we'll do that. But, I mean, playing games, there's not really a true substitute.
Right.
But we're playing our schedule, and it is what it is. So.
And getting a chance to play in April, too. There's nothing, this game's canceled, this game's postponed. You guys, because you've been indoors and you're ready to play. Were they eager to get on that field last night?
Yeah, I think last year we didn't get outside. I looked last night. We didn't play till the 25th.
Yeah.
So this feels a lot better than that, and it was nice to get outside a little bit before we played. We were supposed to play last Tuesday, and we would have had 1 practice outside before that. So it was nice to get a week of practice at Charlie Brown on field on grass, get some more natural hops, get some fly balls, stretch our arms out. So that stuff helps.
Any expectations for this team, Seth, or are you not that kind of a coach?
I mean, we're a scrappy team. Hopefully, like I said, win some games you shouldn't. We're young. Our goal is always make the tournament. Anything can happen. We've shown that in the past. So that's our goal. We get in the tournament, anything can happen. Obviously, making the state tournament's a goal, but yeah, we're a scrappy young team, and we compete. That's kind of what it comes down to.
And a lot of these guys, they have high baseball IQs. They've played the sport for a lot of years, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, a lot of them were either playing on Legion team a couple years ago that made a run in state tournament, and then or a couple springs ago where we played some good baseball in the EDC tournament and stuff, and then last summer with Babe Ruth, them going to state and winning some games, that helps. You know, we play in big games, and the regular season gets a little easier.
Well, off to a 1-0 start. It's nice to get that first one out of your belt and get a W.
Yeah. Yep, yes, sir.
All right. Well, again, coming up next Tuesday, they got the West Fargo Packers, and then we'll see the Highlanders again here at home. And again, Highlander TV Network or Game Changer. We'll talk about that as we progress, where we can watch Highland baseball and throughout the season. We'll
get it posted out on Twitter, Instagram, wherever it'll be streamed. It's always on Game Changer if we don't have a video. For road games, we'll be on Game Changer, so it'll be the live stats. Some road places have video, some don't, but that Game Changer will be a consistent every time we play.
Perfect. So you can follow the Highlanders wherever they're at. Perfect. Seth, I appreciate it. Congratulations on Game 1.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Coach Seth Soderholm joining us from the Highlander Baseball. We'll be back and wrap things up here in Coach's Corner from the Heck on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network, and we are in the track and field, and they are getting into the gist of it. They're coming up, they're outside at West Fargo Cheyenne coming up this week. Coach Trevor Bacalar joining us, and we'll talk about that coming up here in a minute. Okay. But last week, 2 meets in 3 days. One outside, one inside.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was good. It was a good way to got down there to Cheyenne. It was a really nice day for those kids, and it was the right move, sending our throwers there and then having those kids run, because we got those qualifiers out of that meet, which was awesome for us to start the year like that. So we'll fill those rooms at state, and then. We went up Saturday to EDC, and it was a really good meet for us, actually. Yeah. A lot of the kids performed well and placed in that meet. We had a lot of PRs again, which is great to see. And it was really windy, so I was kind of glad we didn't have our throwers out there that day.
Yeah, well, I noticed that when I was looking through the stats. I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't see any throwers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, that's
So
why.
we gave them. They were actually happy. So they got Friday off, no practice, and then they got the weekend off too. So
Wow.
yeah.
But now this
Yeah.
week they didn't get anything.
No. Now it's gonna get busy again.
Now it's
so,
going to get busy
yeah,
again.
Yeah.
Well, again, at the Cheyenne meet, some state qualifiers are Parker Jacobson in the 100. I think it's, I want to say 7.12
Yep.
is
yep.
what he ran
Yep.
in that.
Personal best for him on that one.
And I think that was a personal best from the week before, which was like a 7:19 or something like that. He had run earlier this year, but that was an indoor.
Yeah,
That
yep.
he ran that.
Yep.
But Parker he's really stepped it up this year in his training and getting ready for the senior
Yeah.
year.
He has. He did a lot of off-season work. And you tell kids, right? It's what you do. Yeah. We have such a short season.
Yeah.
That if you're not doing something to get into the season, right? You're playing catch up a lot of the time, unless you're that kid, you know what I mean? You can turn it on,
Turn
right?
it on,
But
yeah.
we don't have a ton of those even walking around anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, he did a lot of work in the off season, and he actually competed in a few meets before the season began, so that was really good for him.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice. So he's worked hard.
Regenberg again,
Yep.
qualifying in the 1600. Just keep doing what
we
she does.
And then she turned around. She did the 16 and the 8 that day. So she's been breaking records and just doing what Reagan's been doing since leading off from last year. You know, and it's just nice to see her competing at a level like that, and then just the confidence that she has. It doesn't get deterred by little things. People could be leading and she's back. She doesn't. It doesn't phase her, right? But we're gunning for the state meet, right?
Yeah,
and so a lot of it is it's nice to get all those accolades, but that's the shining thing that you want at the end of the
That's the carrot
season.
at the end of the rope.
It is, yeah.
It's
yeah,
coming up
yep.
in May in Bismarck. And you
Yep.
look at those four, your four distant runners with Regenberg, Greta Govan, Bryn Leak,
Yeah.
and then Caden Fetch.
Yeah,
I just saw the four of them ran by here a little bit about a half hour ago.
Yeah.
It's like they really set the tone for this team of what they do in the distances.
Oh yeah, they have been, and those girls have been leaders for a long time. I remember when Greta was just a little 7th grader, joining the group of older girls, same thing, and now, she's one of those top girls, and so they've really set a good atmosphere for that group, and how to work and what you should do and prepare for different things, and they'll get ready to run that 4x8 here coming up on Friday, and which is I'm excited to see because they did it in the indoor, ran an awesome time, won that NDSU meet, that state indoor, and so now we'll see who get that qualifying time outside. So yeah.
And we were talking about our throwers. Dylan Hunt qualified for state in the discus.
Yeah, that kid is a surprise. Yeah,
Yeah.
We were wondering, we're getting ready, just practicing that day, and someone was like, "Yeah, Dylan qualified." I was like, "What are you talking about? In what?" And I figured it was javelin, but they're like, "No, disc."
Right.
And then finally, guys sent messaging back and forth, and they're like, "Yep, it's official. Yeah, he's in." So that was really good for him. Gets another return trip to state. So.
And all three of you, with Dylan, Scott, and Owen, they all had personal bests in the discus.
Yeah, those kids have been doing all the throwers have been just steadily increasing. We even have some young ones, freshmen, Tori Nelson, who's moving up and she's throwing. It's nice to see, even though they're not hitting huge marks all the time, we tell them that consistency, right, and that improvement is what you're trying to get to. And you're young. A lot of times those freshmen don't understand you're competing against a lot of older kids, right, throughout the season. And so you just got to stay in your little bubble, right, and you're going to work your way out of it.
Well, I know you talked about last week the difference between the shot put indoors and out.
Yeah,
it's
there's
a
a slight difference.
Is the discus the same? Does it have something? Do they do that something different or no?
They don't. No, discus is just
Nothing,
the one
that's just
thing.
outside.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just outside, and then the javelin,
Yeah.
just outside. So, yeah, those throwers, when we go to a lot of those meets, it gets to be a long day because they'll throw right away, and then they don't have anything else for the next, 4 or 5 hours sometimes.
Right.
So
What's the relay where you have your throwers run at the relay at the end of the meet?
the throwers relay, yes, that's a pretty popular event. We'll do that at our last chance meet.
Right.
And it's always fun to watch those kids. They get geared up for it. So we don't have Ari anchoring our relay this year, so we'll have to change that.
Have to figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. So yeah.
And that's May 13th is that last chance, I think,
Right.
is when that'll be coming up. But Has anything else surprised you, Trevor, as far as what this team has done so far?
I think just the growth with a lot of those kids. You know, we see a lot of the younger ones. We have, like, when you talk about the young ones, the distance kids. You know, we had a sprinter, you know, jumper, Brenna Storley, you know, who was running last year, a lot of maybe 200s, 400s, and now she's wanted to do some longer stuff, and she's, you know, just seeing, again, those improvements. We hand out PRs like, man, which I'm glad that we do that,
Right.
you know. And yes, maybe in the beginning you start to see a little more and they start to trickle down a little bit because you will hit a little bit of a plateau at some point. Right. But yeah, and your goal is to just be as good as you can, you know, on that day. And then at the end of the season, maybe you hit your personal best again.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, just, you know, the leadership that we've had in some of the sprinting events. We've got some young kids, like freshman Jaden Sewer, who's running with us, and he's fit in. Wow, I've always said that kid was quick, and I tried to get him out in junior high, and he just never. And then this year he's out, and he fits right in. You know, we're going to run the 4x1 relay here on Friday, and I think we're going to be pretty close to qualifying. And so, yeah, some of those little things, you know, those sparks with those younger kids is awesome to see.
Well, again, we talked about the EDC Indoor was also this past weekend, and that's it for indoor now, even though you had some on the schedule.
Right.
But you're done with indoor.
All done. Yes, that's it. We're officially moving outside. So I've told the kids we'll be at the track all week, and then all of a sudden Monday I was like, okay, we're going to stay at the school because it was raining, you know, and they're like, but yeah, so we'll move outside. Well, we got meet on Friday, and then we got another meet. We turn around and go to Lisbon Monday, and then we'll have, I think we have our first junior high meet coming up on Tuesday too in Lisbon.
Right.
So, and then at the end of that week is the Fargo Elite that we've talked about, where they only take the top 24 entrants. So I'm pretty curious to see where our kids sit and then how many we actually get into that meet. So, yeah.
It's a short season. You talk about the short season
Yes.
because the championships are, I think, the 23rd, 24th, 25th of May in Bismarck. And so it's a little over a month away, and you're already talking the state.
It does go fast, you know, and I've told those kids that once we get rolling, we're a meet here, meet there. We have a lot scheduled. We probably won't go to every meet that we have on our schedule, but we'll try to at least send kids, here and there and get them as much competition as possible. So enjoy the weather while it's good.
Exactly.
You know, we never know when it can turn on us. So.
Don't say that.
No, I know.
And then you start tapering probably a week or two before the conference and then state.
Yeah, typically, yep. We'll get for a lot of our kids. We have our last chance meet. You said on the 13th, and that'll be the end of the season for many of them. The ones that we're not going to take to EDC, we do have limitations, so that does cut kids out, unfortunately, automatically. And then just looking at some of the standards, an example would be a high jumper can't make the opening height. So then that doesn't mean you don't,
Right.
You can go, but we don't want them just barreling into the bar 3 times. That doesn't do anything for your confidence.
No.
Yeah, and then we'll just do what we got, and then we'll regroup the next week, get ready for state with those kids, and you just kind of fine tune things.
Sure.
So and just try to keep them going.
And it's West Fargo Cheyenne this weekend.
Yes.
And now that you've had some of those kids have been on that, really only just one runner. Who was on that track last week.
Yep.
With their kind of pop-up meet that they had there on the 4th. But still familiar grounds. And really, does it matter, Trevor, as far as I've been on this track before, or I've thrown in this out this field? Does it matter at all?
I think sometimes it's a comfort level for some kids. Especially when we compete at home. They're so used to practicing there that when they run and compete, they feel comfortable. And we do go to several, we go to Lisbon a few times. They get that familiarity. Yeah. I think the ones that kind of have some uncertainty sometimes is those new kids, right? Never been here before. Right. Even though they're doing the same thing, it's just a different location, maybe different people.
Right.
But yeah, I think some of that is you get a little bit more comfortable after you competed somewhere because it's familiar. And especially the teams that are there, you get, you start to get some of that. Okay, I know this person, I know that person. I'm probably going to compete against this person. So yeah, the kids know a lot. On the bus rides, they have it figured out. So a lot of the time, so it's funny. It's funny, yeah.
And you could just tell them, just focus on your job. Don't worry about what else is going around you. Just focus on what you got to do.
And we've told them that, right? Yes. If you throw the javelin, you're going to throw the javelin. If you throw a disc, if you run the 100, it's all the same. It's you. Right? Competing against yourself, even though there's people around.
Right.
Right? You're competing against yourself because your goal is to beat your distance that you can throw or run your fastest time if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I finished first in my heat, that feels good, but could I have performed better? Could I have done this better?
Right.
Little things like that, you
Right.
know? And so, yeah, we tell kids sometimes, they're like, well, I won. But I'm like, all right, that was good. But
no.
we can, yeah, right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we gotta, yeah. So
Where can we take a
sometimes-
tenth of a second off or
That's
2/10
right.
of a
Yeah,
second
let's
off?
work on this, right? Yeah, but you know, and be happy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, be happy with your performances.
Well, it's fun that we're getting into this time of year now. We're getting to the season where track will be fast and furious. And again,
Yeah.
we have Parker, Reagan, Dylan, Reagan in 2 events,
Yep.
and Greta. They're the state qualifiers right now.
Yes.
And but we got about 15 more we want to get.
I think we're gonna get a few more. Yeah, even like that race in that 800, Bryn Leak was just. I mean, she was right there.
Right.
You know, and we have Zach Sikora in the javelin again. Threw well. He was close. And so I think we're gonna have quite a few kids get there. It might take just a little bit more time, right?
Right.
Get a few more outdoor meets and we'll be good.
Yeah, it's not all going to happen in once.
No. I know. Even with our training, I tell some kids, all right, we're working towards something. It's
Right.
not going to all happen right now. So. Yeah.
Just be patient.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Trevor, appreciate it as
Thank
usual. You bet. Trevor Bacalar joining us from the Highlander Track and Field. We'll be back and wrap things up here on Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. And back here on Coach's Corner of the Highlander Activity Network, and we'll be wrapping up the show here. Nothing really going on right now is locally or in-house, in town for the Highlander Activity Network, but obviously stay tuned on our YouTube page. We'll have some baseball down the road, and we will keep you informed of what is going on here on the Highlander Activity Network. No Coach's Corner next week, so our next Coach's Corner will be coming up April 24th. We'll probably be talking another possible state championship with our speech team. Aiden McPartland and Abby Wimbles joining us tonight. And we'll have our next Coach's Corner coming up on April 24th. And I want to thank our guests tonight, again, Abby and Aiden, Seth Soderholm from Highlander Baseball, and Trevor Bacalar from Highlander Track and Field. And as usual, Jane Johnson, our technical director and camera operator here tonight as well. And as usual, thank you for joining us. Again, you can find us on YouTube. Just search Highlander Activities on YouTube, and that'll take you to the Highlander Activity Network. All past shows, past events are all archived there, and you can watch them over and over and over again. And, of course, we'll have live events when we get into that part of the season with baseball here at home. Until next, in 2 weeks, we'll see you again, April 24th, Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.